Is Helena Bertinelli the Huntress a hostage of Arkham Tower, or is there something much darker and sinister going on? Well, let's hop into the pages of Detective Comics number 1050, the continuation of Shadows of the Bat, and find out together, shall we? So then, like the rest of this series, this issue jumps around in time. In fact, we hop back 2 whole years to an adventure that Batman, Nightwing, and Huntress all had together. Huntress had managed to corner Harley Quinn and the Joker, only to realize that he was backed up by an entire gang of Jokers, an insane clown posse, if you will. Dick Grayson, in his internal monologue, opines about all the ways in which the members of the Bat family are the same. They were all born from the great shadow cast by Bruce himself following the tragic death of his parents. All the Robins, Batgirl, Batwoman all decided to enter that shadow in their own different way to be part of this bigger legacy, but Helena was always a little bit different. She had her own shadow born of her own family's death. She always had one foot in the Bat world and one foot out. Yet, despite all the ways in which they were different, Dick always thought that Helena and Bruce were more alike than they ever cared to admit. Flash forward to the present, and Huntress is seemingly a prisoner of the Arkham Tower, only despite Batwoman trying to rescue her at the end of the previous issue, she doesn't want to go. Whatever the hospital is doing to the inmates, they've done to Helena as well. But perhaps the most horrifying part of all of this is that maybe Helena actually went there under her own power, looking for help with a psychological problem. You'll recall in the last couple Detective Comics stories, ever since Huntress had come in contact with the crazy parasites left behind by the supervillain Mr. Vile, she seems to have developed some sort of predictive future sense. Basically, for the last few months, Helena has been able to see through the eyes of victims before they die horrible deaths, and naturally that's taking a major toll on her mind and spirit. Things actually came to a very unfortunate head when Helena beat to death one of those vile zombies before it could kill a woman. Which, I mean, it was already a zombie, so can you really beat to death something that's already dead? That's not really the important part of the story, though. The important part of the story is that Helena is beginning not to trust herself anymore. She fears that she may go too far. We as the reader also know full well that despite whatever they're doing to patients at Arkham Tower, it's not actually fixing Helena's problem of seeing the future. When one of those party crasher gang members was killed in the previous issue by Anna Volson, Helena saw it and started screaming in her sleep. She was just so doped up she couldn't actually do anything about it, and the drugs just keep on coming too, courtesy of Dr. Ware, who needs to clean up all signs of the murder and even pay off a couple of the nurses to keep them nice and quiet. Speaking of Ware, as we discover in this issue, it seems that he doesn't have some sort of big master plan to take over the city or do evil via Arkham Tower. He actually just seems to be a regular old run-of-the-mill crook who's trying to get as much money out of Mayor Nakano in the city as he possibly can by running Arkham Tower without also having to put in a whole lot of work. This probably explaining why Ware was allowing the Party Crashers gang to invade the hospital and steal pharmaceutical drugs for resale on the street. Here's the problem though, this relationship between Ware and the Party Crashers is actually beginning to come undone following the murder that Anna Volson committed on one of their members at the end of the previous issue. Nightwing, disguised as a janitor, actually overhears 2 of the Party Crashers talking. We also find out the street name of this drug that they're peddling is called Numb. Must fight the urge to make a Linkin Park joke. Dick also tries to get Helena to talk to him, but unfortunately she's so comatose she's not going to be talking to anyone for a while. We also soon discover that maybe the reason that Dick is so invested in Huntress's well-being right now is because he was the one who actually pushed her to try and get some psychological help for her future sight after Batman left the city. He certainly didn't think she would go to Arkham Tower first for help, but they were having such great success stories with longtime hard cases like Mr. Freeze. Now, after it's made abundantly clear that that dead Party Crasher member won't be returning to his boys anytime soon, a couple of the gangsters decide to take out their anger on Dr. Ware in his office. Here's the thing though, before the goon can pull the trigger though, he ends up coming face to face with Dr. Ware's mystery benefactor, a guy by the name of Roger, aka Roger Hayden, the Psycho Pirate. One of the very few beings in the DC universe who is aware of all the different different crises and world-rewriting events around him, as well as an individual with the power to affect people's emotions. Which essentially means if you're feeling bad or feeling crazy, you don't need psychotherapy at Arkham Tower, you need psycho-pirate therapy. And so that was Detective Comics number 1050, everybody, and overall what I first thought was a pretty well-executed issue, if nothing special, really won me back in the last page. Between Infinite Frontier and this, I love the little subtle push that Psycho Pirate is getting, and he really deserves it, especially considering how horribly underserved he was in City of Bane, and how he never actually ended up factoring into the Heroes in Crisis story, despite the fact that they all kept using his mask imagery all over that story. Hell, speaking of Heroes in Crisis, even after only 2 issues, I think this is already a much better, more interesting take on super people trying to deal with their own mental demons. It took a lot for Helena to admit she needed help, but unfortunately she was looking for the quick fix that was Arkham Tower, and now she's ending up paying the price for it. Overall, I feel comfortable giving this one a very solid 7.5 out of 10. It was good stuff.
Hey there everyone, Cape Joel again, and I want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. As always, if you liked what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. It really helps drive engagement and helps me out too. Also, if you are a patron, which you can become for as little as $1 a month, you will get exclusive content that no one else can ever see, and you'll get to see the Comic Multiverse podcast before anyone else too. You can check out all this and more down in the description. And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.